Once upon a time, there was a naughty boy in a classroom. One day he stood up and asked his teacher, "Sir, may I go out?" The teacher looked at him and said, "No, sit down." After a while, again he asked the same question, "Sir, may I go out?" The teacher didn't even look at him, but said, "No, sit down." To the surprise of all, he ran away from the classroom. After some 5 minutes, he came back, and his teacher asked him, "Why did you go away? I didn't have permission." He said, "Why not, sir? We learned from you that two negatives make an affirmative. So first time you said no, and again second time you said no. That means yes. Two negatives make an affirmative. We are trying to transform an affirmative sentence into a negative sentence. Sometimes two negatives make an affirmative. Good evening, everybody. This is Basic English session number 43 of our Language Mantra channel. Actually, in the session 42, we tried to discuss how to transform an affirmative sentence into a negative sentence. In fact, we have two options here. The first option is to use a negative signature word like no, not, nobody, never, none, nothing, nowhere, etc. And it will straightway make an affirmative sentence a negative sentence. In this case, the meaning of the sentence will change almost 180 degrees. There is a second option in which you are asked to transform a sentence without changing the meaning. That is much more important. And this is what we are going to discuss today. Let's see. There is a simple sentence here. He is a tall man. And it's not difficult to convert it into a negative sentence. The first option, I mean. He is a tall man. He is not a tall man. It is so simple. But when we come to this option, option number 2, it becomes a little bit different. You see, he is a tall man. Here we have to use that negative signature word, no doubt. And at the same time, you have to give the opposite or antonym of a word that is vital in the sentence. For example, he is a tall man. What we do, he is not a short man. What happens here? We use not, and then again we use short. Short itself is not a negative word, but when you see short in this particular context, that he is a tall man, tall is here, in that context, short becomes a negative word. At least it has a connotation of some negative sense. Therefore, two negatives make an affirmative is a valid rule. Here we have so many examples. We have to discuss all these, but once you understand 1, 2, or 3 sentences, things will be very mechanical and things will be very easy for you to understand. We have adjective words, we have even verb, we have adverbs, and we have even conjunction and preposition words. So take care. Listen very carefully. Now, adjective words. Very frequently you would come across sentences that is to be converted into negative sentences are based on that adjective words, right? Adjective. Jim is doubtful if he can lift the weight. Jim is doubtful if he can lift the weight. Which word is the most important here? Of course, this word doubtful. He is doubtful. So if I make it negative, according to the first option, it will be very easy. It will become Jim is not doubtful if he can lift the weight. But my point is not that. My point is the second option. Therefore, we have to think a little bit more. So what is that? Jim is not sure. Here we have doubtful. In that case, we have to use a particular word that in combination with not in the sentence gives the meaning of doubtful. So what is that word? He is not doubtless. Or Jim is, say, not sure. Doubtful means not sure. So Jim is not sure if he can lift the weight. In that case, you compare these two sentences, they give almost the same meaning. This is what we are going to see in all these examples. Next example. We should be certain before we undertake to do something. We should be certain. We should be sure. That means we should not be uncertain. We use a prefix on. Prefix on, it gives the opposite meaning. So we play this trick. So let's see, we should be certain means we should not be uncertain. In this case, these two sentences, we should be certain before we undertake to do something, and we should not be uncertain before we undertake to do something, give the same meaning. So simple, only use your head and answer will be correct. Number 3, Jesse is taller than Jack. We have two options here. Jess is taller than Jack. Jess is not shorter than Jack. Or you see, from the point of view of Jack, Jack is not as tall as Jess. Remember these sentences. This is a little bit tricky, the second one. That means Jack is not as tall as Jess. This one. And the first option, Jess is not shorter than Jack, is easier. Come to number 4. He is always careless. Okay, fine. He is never careful. Here you see, I'm doing opposite word. So when I say careless, it is in the affirmative sentence. So careful, this careful becomes a negative word in terms of this word careless, because careless is given in the affirmative sentence. He is always careless. That means he is never careful. If it is always in the negative sentence, it will be always never. He is never careful. Everyone found the film interesting. Well, everyone found the film interesting. This means nobody found the film dull. Nobody found the film boring. Nobody found the film uninteresting. So since interesting is the word here, we can use a prefix and we can easily make it uninteresting. So you see, adjective words can be changed. An opposite word can be supplied along with not, no, nowhere, never, etc. And it can be transformed into a negative sentence so easily. Now come to the use of verbs. I have accepted the offer. Well, accepted. This is the affirmative sentence. I have accepted the offer. That means I have not rejected the offer. I have accepted the offer. I have not refused the offer. So simple. Accept, antonym or opposite word is reject. Therefore, I use not and then use an antonym or an opposite word, and it makes almost similar in meaning. In that case, These two sentences give you almost the similar meaning. Now come to the second one. Everybody liked Jessica. Very simple. Everybody. Nobody. Everybody liked Jessica. Nobody disliked Jessica. I use prefix dis. Dis means dislike here. Like is the main verb. So use dis and make it negative. Dislike. So everybody liked Jessica. It becomes nobody disliked Jessica. Next one. She is prevented from entering the garden. Prevented. This is a verb. So she is prevented from entering the garden. Prevent is followed by from. This is say appropriate preposition that is used here. Prevent from, prevented from. So she is prevented from entering the garden. She is not allowed. So I give another word that is opposite of this word prevented. She is not allowed to enter the garden. Whenever you do this, remember one thing, that is the use of tense. If it is past tense, the converted sentence also will have the same tense. If it is past tense, that would be also past tense. If it is present tense, that would be present tense. If it is future tense, the converted sentence will also be in the future tense. Next one. Rahul noticed the electric wire there. Rahul noticed. This is a tricky one. Rahul noticed the electric wire. We do not have an exact opposite word of notice. This is a verb. So what we can do here, we can supply something else and make a kind of meaningful sentence. Rahul did not fail to notice. Rahul noticed. So Rahul did not fail to notice the electric wire there. It makes the same sense. So sometimes you have to use certain words carefully. Maybe it is not exactly the opposite word, but some other words can be used to make a meaningful sentence or kind of meaning you want to convey. Now come to adverb words. Adverb. Number one. Pele always kicked the ball powerfully. Pele, that legendary footballer. Pele always kicked the ball powerfully. I know this part. Always will be never. And powerfully, this is adverb. So you have no problem. If it is powerfully, you can make it easily. Powerlessly. So Pele never kicked the ball powerlessly. So you get almost the clue from the positive sentence. Or affirmative sentence itself gives you the clue how to change it. Once you practice, once you get used to these sentences, it will come easily. It's just a matter of, practice, nothing else. So Pele always kicked the ball powerfully. It means Pele never kicked the ball powerlessly. Number two, a good storyteller writes stories carefully. A good storyteller never writes stories carelessly. So carefully, carelessly, powerfully, powerlessly, mercifully, mercilessly. These are possible, options you have. Our history teacher is always on time. Very simple. Our history teacher is always on time. Always means we have already learned always will become never. So our history teacher is never late. So you see, he is always on time means he is never late. These two sentences give almost the same meaning. Sometimes meaning may slightly differ, but the basic, sense of meaning is always there. Next one. As soon as he came home, it started raining. This is a little bit tricky. As soon as, this is a phrase. As soon as, in fact, an adverbial phrase. So as soon as he came home, it started raining. Whenever you have as soon as, if you want to change it into negative, remember this as a formula. no sooner than will come there. But no sooner then the first action, then the second action. See the example. No sooner did he come home. Did. No sooner did. Did will come first. No sooner did he come home than it started raining. So two parts of the sentence are there. One is no sooner did he come home, and second part is it started raining. This is the principal clause, and the first part is a subordinate clause. And these two clauses are joined by than. You must remember this one. No sooner did he come home than it started raining. You try to memorize some more sentences in this structure, and it will help you understand this particular format. Now, come to conjunction and preposition. Sometimes it is possible, while transforming a sentence into a negative sentence, we change the preposition part, we change the conjunction part. I can do it if you give me a written order. I can do it if you give me a written order. What happens here? I can do it and you give me a written order. Two parts are there, and it's joined by if. It's an if clause. So I can do it if you give me a written order. I can't do it. I can do it. I can't do it. If not, you give me a written order. That is better expressed with unless. I can't do it unless you give me a written order. So simple. Just use your head a little. Next one. You can do well if you study hard. Hello. You can do well if you study hard. That means you can't do well until you study hard. Or even unless is possible. Sometimes until and unless are interchangeable. So you can use that one also. So you can do well if you study hard becomes you can't do well until or unless you study hard. Now the last sentence. The market will be closed by 9. We have closed and then by 9 a time is referred to. So closed must be addressed here. Open or opened, that type of a word must be there. And 9 by 9. By is a preposition. So that preposition also will be changed because that part is a negative sentence. The market will not remain open. Instead of the market will be closed, I use the market will not remain open after 9. Market will not remain open after 9. And I have a list of prefix and suffixes here. There may be other suffix or prefix also possible, but these are the things we have tried to use here. So you must have a careful study of these sentences. Try to see the principle that is working in these sentences. Once you understand this and you develop a little bit of language skill, it will be as easy as a cup of tea. You needn't worry at all. But we have to worry because almost 65% of our viewers are not our subscribers. Please do this. Subscribe our channel. Like it, dislike it, comment on it, press the bell button, share with your friends, and that would help us a lot. So, hope to meet you once again next week. Thank you very much.